I'm up on third healing.
I killed one. This gun slaps. Are you guys interested in what the best weapon builds are for level 3 traders in Escape from Tarkov? Well, look no further. Today we're going to be covering the top 5 builds for level 3 traders in Escape from Tarkov patch 12.12. My name's Tickle. Thank you for clicking on this video. Before we get into the builds, let's talk about the criteria we use to make this top 5 list. Now, this list isn't going to have your standard weapon builds. We're not going to have an AK-74N with 545, a default M4. We have some really unique weapons to utilize the buffs that came with patch 12.12 and help you guys dominate in your matches. All right, let's talk about the criteria to make this list. Now, to make this list, we have to be able to buy most of the parts from the traders. That's to keep the price low. Like, you guys can buy a meta M4 off the flea market at level 15, but guess what? It's going to cost you 600,000 rubles to do so. So our goal is to utilize parts we can get while still getting as close to meta stats as possible, but keeping things very, very cheap. I'm talking around 100,000 rubles a build for a fully suppressed meta build in this weapon guide. Does that mean we're not going to use the flea market at all? No. In some circumstances where there's huge upgrades for cheap on the flea market, we're going to be utilizing the flea market there. Another criteria is making sure we can use weapons we can reliably get good ammunition for. Now, you guys know with patch 12.12, we can no longer buy high tier ammunition and high tier armor from the flea market. What does that mean for us? Well, we need to utilize ammo that we can actually get our hands on consistently. We want to be able to use these guns all the time in our matches and make sure that ammunition can put people down. I don't want to recommend a weapon to you guys you can only buy 12 bullets every reset for, because that's useless to you guys. That's just clickbait. And the last part of criteria we have here is to utilize strong new weapons instead of the old meta. I see everyone falling back to the old meta and what they know used to work, but there's a lot of changes with patch 12.12, and with it came a whole host of really strong firearms that I don't see anyone using. So without further ado, let's get into our first weapon build, and that is the Scar L Carbine. Now, if you watched my level 2 traders best weapon builds, you know the Scar L was featured on that as well. We had the long barrel version, but it was costing around 130,000 rubles. The ammunition was a little hard to get at that level. It had low ergo and it had its issues in tight spaces like in dorms on customs. It was really good for that level. However, recently a lot of people have been farming the Rogue Useks on Lighthouse. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, a lot of these Rogue Useks have the Scar L Carbine, which is the shorter barrel variation, and it is drove the price way down on the flea market. You can get a Scar L Carbine right now on the flea market for 28,000 rubles in 100 out of 100 condition. That is less than a quarter of the price of the long barrel Scar L available from Peacekeeper level 2. Additionally, with its low rounds per minute, it doesn't have very much recoil, so you don't really need a long barrel on this at all. What does that mean for us? It means much higher ergonomic stats, much lower weight, and it's not going to be clipping in close encounters like on dorms. This build is extremely cheap, under 100,000 rubles, and is an absolute staple of my arsenal in the tier 3 traders best builds. Additionally, you can get M856A1 from Peacekeeper level 2 and craft it on your level 2 workbench in your hideout. That means you can reliably get good ammunition for this rifle. This is going to be my top recommendation for your daily weapon. You can take this to shoreline, you can take it to nighttime customs, you can take it to factory, you can take it wherever you want and it'll perform. If you want one gun to run all the time, this is going to be your weapon right here. Let's get into modding this. All right, for this build, we're going to be starting with the FN Scar L. That's a 5.56 variant, and we're looking for the Carbine edition. It has a 10-inch barrel on it. I've been seeing these on the flea market for as low as 30,000 rubles lately. Normally, they run around 100,000 rubles from the traders. Our first attachment here is actually going to be the Thunder Beast Ultra 5 sound suppressor, as well as the Thunder Beast 5.56 muzzle brake. You can swap the suppressor at skier level 3 for a Tagilla boss cap, and boss caps are only 18,000 rubles. This gives you damn near a best-in-slot suppressor for around 25,000 rubles, which is really hard to beat. Now, for the handguard, I like to run that Magpul RVG foregrip. This is available from Peacekeeper level 3 for just under 9,000 rubles. It's a really well-rounded foregrip that gives good recoil and good ergonomic stats. It's going to be a staple of a lot of our builds. One of the most important modifications we can do to this is actually completely free and requires no trader levels, and that's to smash the like button on this YouTube video. Next, we're going to swap to the AR-15 Magpul MOE pistol grip. This is a really small ergonomics bump, so you can choose to skip this if you want to keep costs down. Similar to the last modification, this is optional, and that's the Magpul M-Bus Gen 2 front and rear flip-up sights. It's going to cost you around 7,000 rubles for 2 more ergonomics. Just remember, guys, ergonomics is going to help you raise your weapon faster, swing it around corners, and in this patch, whoever gets shots on target first tends to win the fight. That being said, if you choose not to put these on, I'd still recommend you take off the default front sight and the default rear sight, as they're just weighing the gun down. In our magazine slot, we're running the Magpul PMag Gen 3 M3 30 rounders. These have an open slot that actually updates live as you shoot the gun. So let's say you reload a magazine and you haven't actually checked how much is left in that magazine, you're in the middle of a fight, you might be able to see like it halfway full in the slot in your inventory. I personally feel like this gun doesn't need 60 round magazines since it shoots at 650 rounds per minute. Using 30 round magazines is also going to make you a little more trigger disciplined, save you money on ammunition, and stop you from getting those overheating weapon jams. For all those reasons, I strongly recommend the Gen M3 slotted 30 rounders. After that, slot on your choice of optic and tactical device. Here I put on a holographic sight as well as a PEC box, and this baby's good to go. You could even slap a 4x scope on this and use it reliably at range. This is going to leave us with a recoil of 63 and an ergonomics of 41, all for the price of 77,490 rubles to modify this. Now that price does not include the optic and the tactical device, because those are completely subjective and can vary in price quite a bit. You could realistically just run this with the iron sights right here as you see it modded with no optics and no tac device and be perfectly fine, but that's up to you. If you'd like a reference picture for this build and all the builds in this video, they'll actually be in my Discord. You can find the link for that in the description down below. Look forward to seeing you guys all in there, and I love interacting with you guys. Next up is one of the most interesting weapons in Escape from Tarkov, and that is the VSS Vintorez as well as the AS Val. Now I'm going to recommend the VSS Vintorez because you can get them for cheap and they have less recoil than the AS Val. You can now get an SP5 from proper level 2. An SP5 hits like a brick. It's going to be the strongest cartridge in this entire guide, and this gun has an insanely high rate of fire. Shooting at 900 rounds per minute, you'll absolutely annihilate anyone that gets near your optic. Additionally, this weapon was created to be eternally suppressed, so the cartridge is also subsonic. That means you're going to be damn near silent moving around the map, and when you're shooting people, it's not going to crack. To compensate for this, the gun shoots and the bullet kind of travels high in the first 50 to 100 meters of the shot. So if you're aiming at chest level, a lot of the time you're going to get a headshot, or even if you're aiming at stomach level, the recoil combined with the hop up of the gun will get you headshots a surprising amount of the time. The only downside to this is the small magazines. We're going to be running 20 round magazines with this gun, as the 30 round magazines are 40,000 rubles each from the traders. From the flea market, they're even more obscene, and we don't have access to them yet from the traders regardless. Now we know the strengths of the VSS and why it made this list. Let's get into modding this thing.
Shake up the dice, throw it in your eyes, spit it or play it fucking rice. Money ain't a thing though, it's no life. Around with no ice, ain't things ice. Rub on my tits, squeeze on my ass, give me some step on the gas.
Now we'll be starting off with the base VSS Vintorez. I've been seeing these on flea market for around 32,000 rubles. Once again, this has less recoil than the AS Val. And the reason why this is so cheap is because you can spawn it with your player scav. Now the issue with that is player scav weapons spawn with about 50% durability. That means they're going to jam more often. However, people that find these in boxes go to list them on the flea market and see all of them going for 30,000 rubles, and usually list ones that have 100 durability on the flea market. So try and snipe one that's at full durability and avoid those jams. Remember guys, a gun won't jam the first 8% of the durability of the weapon. We'll be using the 20 round magazines. These are available from proper level 3. They're quite pricey at 8,828 rubles, but you'll basically always get these back on your insurance, so I wouldn't sweat it. And we'll be loading these with SP5 from proper level 2. You can choose to use bigger cartridges with more pen. However, they have a lot of kick to them, and SP5 reliably puts people down. But it's important that you guys have Jaeger 3 so you can get the TAZ 6P29M mount, which will allow you to get a foregrip as well as a tactical device on this. Without it, it's pretty expensive to get these on the flea market. For our foregrip, once again, we're going to be sticking with the tried and true Magpul RVG from Peacekeeper level 3. That's right around 9,000 rubles. Afterwards, we're going to slap on an OKP7 reflex sight. Optics are up to personal preference, but this weapon has a dovetail mount. Otherwise, you're going to have to use a dovetail mount to add a Picatinny on the top. This is just a really easy way to slap a sight on it, so I will recommend it. That's going to run us around 20,000 rubles. This mod's completely up to you, and that is the new AKCSS charging handle. It gives 3 ergonomics for 6,000 rubles. For me, that's a must. If you want to save some rubles, you can save some here. Now that we have the VSS fully modded, we're coming out with a recoil stat of 63, an ergonomics of 57, and a total price of 61,000 rubles. That's right, this thing costs next to nothing. However, to get that TAZ mount, you are going to need Jaeger level 3, and I know a lot of the community doesn't like Jaeger tasks. Maybe this will give you a little motivation to knock those out. Before we move to the next weapon, please consider checking out my Twitch. It's linked in the description down below. I stream every single day, and it means the world to me if you came by and said hi. Make sure to go follow. Our next weapon is for people that fell in love with the 45 caliber this wipe. Now they've actually buffed all calibers of the 45. So if you use the UMP and really like that gun, this gun is going to be for you. And that is the 45 Kriss Vector. Now you can choose to run this with AP ammunition, which is available from Peacekeeper level 3, or just the standard Mach FMJ from Peacekeeper level 1. I've ran it with both. Usually what I'll do is run one magazine loaded with armor piercing rounds already in it. Then I'll have another one in my container, once again loaded with armor piercing ammunition. And I'll have two flesh damage magazines in my vest that I don't insure, so I know which ones are which. And I'll always opt to use the armor piercing ones when dealing with players. However, a lot of times I've just been in an absolute clusterfuck when dealing with big groups of players, and I've loaded in one of the FMJ rounds and absolutely annihilated players. When you have the FMJ rounds, you want to kind of aim for like that stomach arm area. With the recoil on this thing, a lot of times you'll just get a surprise headshot out of nowhere. Now, this weapon is surprisingly cheap right now, and that's why I made this list. People just don't like it, I guess. And you can also craft it at the Christmas tree, which is helping it. For those of you who might have used the 9mm Vector, now that one's a lot more popular for some reason. I think it's because it has the drum mags. The 45 caliber actually shoots 200 rounds per minute faster, all the way up at 1100 RPM. This thing is devastating. If you get anywhere near someone, the sheer damage output that can come out of this thing will melt anything in a millisecond. For these reasons, the Kriss Vector 45 makes my top 5 weapon builds list for tier 3 traders. And now I'm going to show you how to mod it correctly.
It was on a Friday evening and I was slightly steaming. Saw this girl like she's quite decent. She saw me like he's quite decent. I said, hello, what's your name? She said, babe, I don't play games.
Since you can craft this as the Christmas tree, and so the only thing you can really do with red ornaments, I've seen this for as low as 22,000 rubles on the flea market. And I think that price will continue to go down. The first thing we're going to do is go get some 30 round magazines from Mechanic level 3. These only cost around 4,000 rubles. Standard, it only has 13 round magazines, so this is a must. The Vector comes with immense side-to-side recoil, so we're going to need to get that down. For that, we're going to use an HK enhanced buffer tube from Mechanic level 3 for 5,000 rubles, as well as the Magpul PRS Gen 3 stock from Peacekeeper level 3 for 22,000 rubles. You'll notice the vertical recoil on this gun is extremely low, but the horizontal recoil on this gun is obscene. Often you'll have a vertical recoil gun with like 20 recoil, yet it'll have 200 horizontal, so we really need to bump down recoil as much as we can. In the foregrip slot, we're going to use the Zenit RK1, which we can get from Skier level 3 for 20,000 rubles. If you have an RK2 in your stash by chance, go ahead and slap it on. This would be probably one of the best times to use it. However, I wouldn't buy one from the flea market. At the time of recording this, they're 90,000 rubles. Once getting the low recoil, we're going to get a slightly larger barrel. We're going to get the Vector 6-inch, which comes from Skier level 3 for 12,000 rubles. By default, this gun has a 5-inch barrel. This is a small hit to the recoil, so you can choose to skip over this if you want to save a little bit of money. And then we're going to attach a suppressor. There's actually a muzzle brake that gets pretty similar recoil statistics for cheaper. But for me, the muzzle flash with that many rounds coming out, the suppressor was necessary. And I like to run this thing on interchange. And not having a suppressor on interchange gets you killed a lot in the dark spaces. So to do that, we're going to use the Silencer Co. Omega 45K direct thread mount adapter from Ski level 3 for 4,000 rubles. And then we're going to slap on the Silencer Co. Omega 45K sound suppressor from Mechanic level 2. Now this suppressor costs 42,000 rubles. So if you do choose to go that muzzle brake route, you'll be saving quite a bit of money, but this is just how I like to run mine. You know the drill. Optics, tactical device, they're subjective. I'm going to go with a holographic as well as a D-ball on this build. All right, and now we have the full build. We have a vertical recoil stat of 27. Now that's a bit misleading because we still have 194 horizontal recoil, and that's why we need all the recoil attachments we can get. We also have 32 ergonomics, and this build's coming in just under 134,000 rubles. Now that might seem like quite a bit, but this is a very meta build and will put people down. So keep that in mind before you write it off just because of how expensive it is. If you guys are enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. I post a lot more content just like this, and sometimes I post subscriber only content. So stay in the loop, stay subscribed. 545 is surprisingly good this wipe. With the changes to fully automatic being nerfed on most guns, the 545 rifles have a lot of recoil assist built into their platform. Now, if you don't know, recoil assist is like a hidden stat in Escape from Tarkov. Some guns have it more so than others. The Mutant is an example of a gun that has a lot of recoil assist. And that's why recoil isn't one-to-one in Escape from Tarkov. You might get 10 recoil on an M4, 10 recoil on an AK, and they'll shoot completely different. But the RPK is surprisingly good. Now, you can get 545 BT from Prapper level 3, as well as 545 BP, and he has barter trades for BS as well. As long as you're stocking up on this every time you see the traders reset, you should have plenty of ammunition to run this thing. If you get your hands on the new 7N40 ammunition, which I believe can only be found in stashes, it'll drop the recoil on this gun even more, and that round is absolutely lethal. but you can't reliably run it all the time. So that's just a what if. Now the RPK is surprisingly cheap on the flea market. I don't know why that is, because Killa is super hard to find. I think the only other way to get it is just from boxes or by buying it from a trader. But on the flea market, I've been seeing the RPK for around 35,000 rubles to 40,000 rubles. Originally, the AK-74N had its spot. Someone in chat recommended that I try out the RPK, and this thing is an absolute laser beam. You could say that I'm gay for the RPK. Let's get into modding this thing. Once again, we're going to start with a base RPK from the flea market. Now, all the ones I saw were 100 out of 100 durability, so that's awesome. You don't have to worry about that. And they're very cheap, around 35,000 rubles. You also have the choice of if you want to get a long barrel or a short barrel variation. They're both in the flea market around the same price. I'd personally recommend the short barrel. It doesn't really need any more recoil reduction. Just like on our past builds, we're going to be running the Magpul RVG foregrip from Peacekeeper level 3. That's running us around 9,000 rubles. Super well-rounded foregrip. In the muzzle device slot, we have the PWS CQB 74 545 muzzle brake, and that's from Skier level 3 for 15,000 rubles. This is actually the best muzzle brake you can put on the RPK. It doesn't take all the same muzzle brakes as the AK-74N, and you have access to it pretty early. We're gonna be swapping out the pistol grip for the AK Tapco Saw style pistol grip from Peacekeeper level 2. This is gonna run us around 6,000 rubles. And then we're gonna be changing the furniture on the buffer tube here. We're gonna be going for the Magpul MOE carbon stock in gray. The black ones are super expensive for some reason. You can get this from Peacekeeper level 3 for 8,000 rubles, and make sure you get that rubber butt pad for it. It's also available from Peacekeeper level 3. It's 6,000 rubles. Now magazines are up to you. However, I did run this with a 95 round drum magazine because they're so cheap on the flea market, running around 20,000 rubles. It was a ton of fun. Would I recommend it again? Do you need to run it? No, it's probably better with 30 round magazines for higher ergonomics, but it was an absolute blast to run. You can get them for cheap right now, so maybe consider it if you're just looking to have a good time. After that, putting on our choice of tactical device as well as optic. I've opted for D-ball as well as the holographic once again, and that baby is ready to rock. We have this fully built. We're gonna have a vertical recoil set of 54, an ergonomics set of 53. The total price to make this is going to be around 99,000 rubles, just shy of 100,000. And this thing is a lot of fun. If you can't reliably get your hands on 5.56, I would say this is comparable to the Scar. Or if you're just a fan of the Kalashnikov firearms, this is a great alternative to the Scar at the beginning of the video. Now, before we get to our very last weapon build, and what was my personal favorite, we need to talk about honorable mentions. Now, there are 3 really strong rifles. It just couldn't make my top 5 list. And if you want to know what those are and the builds I suggest for them, you're going to need to go over to my Twitch and in the chat, type an exclamation point, honorable mentions. Let's move on to our final weapon. Not anymore. That shooter born in heaven. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. It really means the world to me. Because you stuck around, I'm going to share my personal favorite build at the end. Now, this weapon will 1-tap anyone to the thorax through level 4 armor, and it'll 2-tap level 5 armor. And that is the VPO 209 with AP ammunition. If you have mechanic level 3, you can get your hands on AP ammunition for this gun, and it is lethal. If you enjoyed the RFB from the level 2 trader guide, this is going to be its big brother. Use this. It's also surprisingly cheap, and when anyone sees it's a 209, they usually just leave it. They don't even pick it up. I get it back on insurance all the time, which is crazy. Nothing feels better than 1-tapping someone with this gun. Let me show you how I like to mod this weapon. All right, so we're gonna be starting off with the base VPO 209. Now, I've seen these on the flea market for 15,000 rubles because everyone thinks they're pieces of shit. Super cheap base weapon. From there, we're gonna slap on Pro Mag Archangel Op4 AA47 buttstock from mechanic level 3. This is 22,000 rubles, but it's really gonna bump up the ergonomics, and it's best in slot. Up next, we're going to swap out the pistol grip for the AK Tapco Saw style pistol grip. You can get this from Peacekeeper level 2 for 6,000 rubles. Now we're going to swap out the handguard. We're going to go for the AK Magpul MOE AKM handguard for 16,000 rubles and slot in an angled foregrip from Skier level 3 for 8,000 rubles. Then we're going to put on the CSS knurled charging handle from Skier level 2 for more ergonomics, as well as grab some palm magazines from Peacekeeper level 3. Once again, just to get better ergonomics. After that, put on your choice of tactical device in sight. You can also put a suppressor on this gun, but I chose not to. I personally didn't like the ergonomics sit with the suppressor, not like raising it faster. And now you have a fully modded VPO9. Now you're gonna see it says a vertical recoil of 133, and don't get me wrong, this thing kicks like a bitch, but it only takes one round to take anyone down. It doesn't really matter. We have an ergonomics of 56, which is very high for this rifle. You'll raise it so fast, your character shoulders it damn near instantly. And the price to build this is 77,000 rubles. Thank you for watching my top 5 weapon builds for level 3 traders in Escape from Tarkov. Make sure you go over to the Twitch and check out the honorable mentions. Remember, ! honorable mentions in the chat, one word. And if you guys could please just leave a like, leave a comment if you made it this far in the video. This video took me around 50 hours to make. The ad revenue on this video is going to make me $5. So I really just do this out of enjoyment. If you do want to support the channel in a financial manner, you can hit the join button down below, and I'll be doing one-on-one games with you guys, funneling you guys loot, helping you guys out as much as I can, just to show my appreciation for that. And without further ado, I'll see you guys all in the Discord on the live stream. And don't forget to smash the dislike button and tell me to kill myself. Peace out, guys.